Hey guys, quick lesson today on equations of circles. So our goal for today is write the equation of a circle, graph the circle on a coordinate plane. We're actually going to look at graphs, not graph them ourselves. Okay, so standard equation for a circle, you probably want to write this down, but this is the equation right here. It says it's x minus h quantity squared plus y minus k quantity squared equal to the radius squared. Now, things that we need to know about this equation, h and k are going to represent the center points. So like h is going to be the x coordinate of the center, and k is going to be the y coordinate of the center. Now, one thing that I want you to notice in this equation is that there are minus signs in here, okay? So when I look at the equation, that minus means it's really going to be like stating opposite of what the coordinate is. So like if I have a negative number here, the x coordinate of the center is actually a positive value, and we'll practice that a little bit. Okay, r is going to represent the radius, and what you'll notice here is that at the end of the equation it's actually squared, so the radius squared. So we're going to practice working with that equation right there. I'm going to erase a little bit, a few of my markings in here, and we'll practice working with this. Okay. So they're going to first give us the pieces. So it says the center's at 0, 0, and they want us to have a radius of 8. Well, if I do this, remember this is my h right here and my k. So this would be like saying, I just plug them into that equation. X minus 0 quantity squared plus y minus 0 quantity squared is equal to, it's going to be my radius squared, so 8 squared. Now, I can really simplify this. Do I have to write it as x minus 0? No, I don't have to show in 0 there. So I could really just be writing this as x, oops, not working, x squared plus y squared is equal to, what's 8 squared? 8 times 8 is 64. And then this would be my equation of my circle. Okay? Let's try another one. So like if I label this my h and this my k, my equation would be what? X minus, what am I going to plug in for the h? Well, it's negative 2 squared plus y minus, what's my k value? 3. Quantity squared equal to my radius squared, which is 5 squared. Now I can simplify this. What happens when I have this minus and negative next to each other right here? Well, remember, minus and negative actually becomes an x plus 2 quantity squared plus y minus 3 quantity squared equal to 25. And this would be my final equation. Now, earlier I said you want to think the opposite. So like, think about this. Our first coordinate was negative, but when I look at it in my formula or in my equation of my circle, it's actually a positive here, okay? My k value is positive here, but it actually looks like it's negative in there. So that's what I meant by they're going to be opposites. Okay, so let's try the next one. If my 2 is my h and negative 4 is the k, try and guess what your formula should be, or what your equation should be. It should be x minus 2 quantity squared plus y minus a negative 4 squared equal to 1 squared. How would I rewrite this equation? Does anything happen with the x minus 2? Nope, it stays as x minus 2 squared plus, what happens when I have this y minus a negative 4? This becomes y plus 4 quantity squared equal to radius squared. 1 squared is just going to be 1. Okay, I'm not going to go through all of the steps on the next one. I'll write the equation out. You can check yours. So if you want to try it quick, pause the video and then come back and check it. You should get x plus 1 quantity squared plus y plus 4 quantity squared equal to 4. Okay? All right, next to require a little bit more work. This time, be careful, it doesn't give us the radius, it gives me the diameter. So how do I find the radius from the diameter? If I sketch in for you, diameter of a circle goes all the way across. The radius, though, is really only from the center of the circle to the edge, so it's like half of it. So if I take 8 and I divide by 2, I end up with 4, which means my radius here is 4. And now I can write the equation of my circle. It's x plus 2 squared plus y plus 6 squared equal to 16. Remember, it's the radius squared, so that would be 4 squared. Last one says center at the origin. Origin's the point 0, 0, and a diameter of 4. Once again, we want the radius. So what would the radius be? 2. Equation of my circle, I could say it's x plus 0 squared, but I don't need to show it plus 0, so I really just say it's x squared plus y squared equal to 2 squared. The radius squared gives me 4. And there's the equation of my circle. Okay, moving on here. Okay, this one here, we're actually going to skip number 7, and I want to look at number 8. Okay, you're going to have a practice run like this on your assignment. So it says a circle with the center at 0, 3, and it passes through the point 2, 0. Okay, so if you think here, like I have a circle that has a center at 0, 3, and it's going to pass through a point that's 2, 0. So really, what I want to figure out is what is the distance between the center and my other point. Okay, so I want to use my distance formula. And if you guys remember distance formula, we've worked on it before. It's x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. Remember, we can just start by labeling these x1, y1 and x2, y2 and work your distance formula. Okay, so I start with 2 minus 0 squared plus 0 minus 3 squared. 2 minus 0 squared just gives me 2 squared. 0 minus 3 squared gives me a negative 3 squared. Now as I work through here, what's 2 squared? 2 times 2 gives me 4. Negative 3 times negative 3 gives me a positive 9. So the square root of 13 is what I find here. Now this is my radius. Okay, once I have the center and the radius, I'm ready to write the equation of my circle. So this is what we were doing on the last page. Okay, this would be x squared, because the h is 0, plus y minus 3 squared is equal to the square root of 13 squared. Now let's talk about that real quick. Nothing's going to happen with my x squared plus y minus 3 squared. I leave that. But the square root of 13 squared, it's like the square cancels out the square root, so I'm just left with 13 here. And that's my final equation. So quite a few steps to that one. Okay, almost done for today. All right, these ones here. For each circle with the given equation, state the coordinates of the center and the measure of the radius. Okay, now this first one, if I don't have anything after the x or the y, that means my center was at 0, 0. It's like x plus 0. I don't have to show that. What I need to remember here is this 16 is actually my radius squared. So how would I just find the radius? I take the square root of both sides, and I find that the radius is actually 4. So there's my center and my radius. Okay, center of the next one. Remember, we think opposite of what's actually shown. So it says negative 2, but that means the center is a positive 2. It says negative 1, but that means center is at 1. Remember, this 9 is my radius squared. So radius squared is equal to 9. If I take the square root of each piece, I get the radius equal to 3. Okay, pause it and try the next two and then check them in just a minute. Here I'm going to get center is negative 2, 0. Radius should be 4. Here I should get, oops, the center is at 0, 1, and the radius is going to be 3. Okay. All right, closing for today, write the equation of each circle. Now in order to write the equation, we need two things. We need the center and the radius. So what is the center of this circle? Center's at negative 3, 3. What would the radius be? From the center to the edge, how many units is that? 2. And now I can write the equation of my circle. X plus 3 squared plus y minus 2, minus 3, squared equal to 2 squared. 2 times 2 gives me 4. This one here, the center is at 0, negative 2. My radius is 1, 2, 3. So my equation should be x squared plus y plus 2 squared equal to 9. Assignment for today is just an equations of circles worksheet on Google Classroom. Thank you guys for tuning in. Bye.